Good morning to you all, my dear students. So last class we have discussed about current. So what is current? The rate of flow of charge is called current. So if the charges move from one place to another place in any area of cross section, it produces electric current. If the flow is constant, we can say that it is called steady current, and if the flow is not constant, it is varying, so it is called variable current. And the charges, the current due to positive charge is called conventional current, and the current due to negative charge is called what? Electronic current or electric current. And we come to know that what are the charge carriers in metals, semiconductors and electrolytic solutions. Whereas in liquids and gases also, the ions are the charge carriers of current. Now we are going to learn the new statement or new definition of one more thing is called what? Current density. What is current density is, it is defined as current flowing per unit area of cross section. The rate of flow of charge per unit area of cross section or current flowing per unit area of cross section is called current density. So we can define the definition like this, and from the same definition we are going to write the formula for this one. What is the formula for this one? Formula for this one what? J is equals to I by A. We said now current flowing per unit area of cross section is called what? Current density. So ampere per meter square. Here current density is a vector quantity. Current density is a vector quantity. How can see that here? Let's see. That implies I can write this formula as what? I is equals to J bar dot A bar. Is it right? I equals to what ma? J bar dot A bar, where J bar is a current density and area is also a component. The dot product of these two is, we can define as current. So J is a vector quantity whose direction is along the direction of electric field, or we can say that whose direction is perpendicular to the direction of flow of charges. So here we have to note one point, that current through any cross section, if it is of any shape, remains constant, whereas current density, current through any area of cross section remains constant, but current density changes. It depends on the area of cross section it is going to move. So this is about what? Current density. What is current density? It is defined as the rate of flow of charges per unit of area of cross section, or it is defined as current flowing per unit area of cross section. Next, the important law of this chapter, as we have studied in previous cases, Coulomb's law, how it defined charges. Here we are going to take for Ohm's law. What is Ohm's law? Very simple condition, that have you seen that we said that the flow of charges is called current. So I can give an example, that for example you are sitting in a class on the benches. So the bench is made up of wood and metal. So in metal we have more number of conductors are there. So in conductors we know that we know that there are more number of free electrons. All electrons are in motion. So the charges are moving. So it has to produce current. But why we are not getting current? Because all are moving in different directions. So all are moving in random motion. so that the net current is 0. When you apply the battery to a metal conductor, so we have a wrong assumption that if you connect a battery, it is going to produce current. It is not going to produce current. It makes the charges to move in one direction. So it gives all the electrons to move in one direction. That is because a battery has positive terminal, negative terminal. So while connecting a battery, all the electrons get one direction to move in one particular direction. So that is from negative to positive. So that makes the electrons to move in one direction. That is what we are giving external source as battery. So if you increase the potential, the number of electrons that reaching the positive potential will be more. So the current will be more. From this we can say that the current flowing through a conductor is directly proportional to potential difference applied across the ends. That implies V is equals to I into R. So this is called Ohm's law. So here we have to take two conditions. That are the two conditions are, two things should remain same. What are the two things are? One is physical parameters, means the length, breadth of the material should not change, and temperature. So if we make constant these two for any substance, then we can apply the condition, or this law is valid. That law is what? The current flowing through a conductor is directly proportional to potential difference applied across the ends of the conductor. So we can write this law as, without changing physical parameters and temperature, current flowing through a conductor is directly proportional to potential difference applied across the ends of the conductor. Very, very important law. So the total chapter is based on this law, that is Ohm's law. What is that law? Without changing physical parameters and temperature, current flowing through a conductor is directly proportional to potential difference applied across the ends of the conductor. Here we got one new term called R. What is R? R is proportionality constant called what? It is called what, ma? Resistance. So that depends upon the nature of the material. Now we have to know that what is resistance. Before knowing resistance, so which are obeying Ohm's law and who are not obeying Ohm's law, let us see that. Ohmic conductors. So we can say that the substances which obey Ohm's law are called ohmic conductors. So the substances which obey Ohm's law are called ohmic conductors. Means what? They have to obey the condition that if we applied potential, current should increase. So a linear way. So those are called what? Ohmic conductors. These Ohm's law will be obeyed by all metals. And if you take the slope of this one, what is the slope? So this is delta I, this is delta V. Slope M is equals to delta I by delta V, whereas R is equals to V by I, right? So from this, resistance of the conductor can be obtained by inverse of the slope. So the reciprocal of slope of VI graph gives resistance of the given conductor. Okay. Next, ohmic conductors. So after that, what? Non-ohmic conductors. So what are non-ohmic conductors? The substances which do not obey Ohm's law are called non-ohmic conductors. So which does not obey the condition I is directly proportional to V are called non-ohmic conductors. So for non-ohmic conductors, the graph is not linear. It may be of any shape, for example like this or like this. So it depends upon the nature of the material. So which should not be linear, the graph, then those are called non-ohmic conductors. Example, so metals, all metals we can say that here, semiconductors, vacuum tubes, diodes, all these does not obey, they allow current, but they does not allow the current as the way we said that I is directly proportional to V. So this is about non-ohmic conductors. Now this Ohm's law, where is applicable or where it is not applicable, let's see that. So that we can write as limitations of Ohm's law. Means, have you observed here, what is the Ohm's law statement, ma? Without changing physical parameters and temperature,